Technology advanced than me.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, it's so great to see you all. I started to share that I'd love to see your faces the whole time, certainly. Oh, here comes somebody else. Oh, let's let Melissa join. All right. I love seeing your faces, but certainly I just want you to know this is recorded because we're going to be sharing this with people who maybe couldn't join the session today. So if you're more comfortable, you can definitely turn your camera off, but I do love seeing your beautiful faces. So welcome. Hi, Melissa. Great to see you. You look wonderful. So we'll go ahead and mute everyone here. Our host will mute you, so don't be alarmed. But I'm going to kind of present a little bit, and then we'll have there we go. We'll have some opportunities for us to chat at the end. So I'm very excited to see all of you and to talk about something that is one of my most favorite topics to discuss. And it's interesting how this came to be, but legacy is something that I never, ever thought about. I don't think it's something that many of us really think about, but it has become a cornerstone for my job the last 12 years, but it's also become a foundation for my life. And so the things that I'm talking about today are things that I personally have done, and also things that I have enjoyed cheering families on through Inheritance of Hope for the last 10 years, 12 years. And I've personally seen the impact that some of these very intentional choices can make on you and on your loved ones, your children, your families. So I speak from a place of personal experience, as well as just watching so many others benefit from legacy building. And so I'm excited. If you can't tell, that's one of the attributes that God just put inside me. It's called enthusiasm. And for legacy, I have a lot of enthusiasm. So welcome to this session. I'm going to share my screen for this little PowerPoint that I created to help us walk through some of these practical ideas. And please jot down some thoughts, because I really do want to hear from you guys at the end for things maybe that you've tried, or you decide maybe you want to try after today. So we're going to kick it off. Obviously, there I am. That's the session today. What is legacy? So like I said before, maybe you haven't thought about that before. And if you read in a dictionary, it talks about something that you leave behind, that you pass on. But one of the definitions that I heard that I really like is a gift. This is a gift that you can pass on to people that come after you. I like to think of it as an ongoing gift, because I know personally, as we kind of go through our lives, there's parts of me that I've already passed on to my children, to people in my life and my influence. And this is something that we get to build upon. So legacy is a gift. And I'm going to break it down for the sake of this session into 4 specific types of gifts. And we're going to go through these one by one, but you can see them listed here. And we're going to go ahead and kick it off with the gift of the written word. And you can see there's a lot of ideas about this. Some of you might have even more ideas, and that's what I really want to hear about. But there are so many opportunities for you to be able to write down different things for your loved ones that will be a gift for them. And it will also be a gift for you. That's something that I also want to open your eyes to. So let's start here with the cards for milestones. This is something that I know when Kristen, the co-founder of Inheritance of Hope, when she was faced with her illness, she kept thinking about what if I'm not here for X, Y, or Z, their graduation, their wedding, the birth of their first child. What if I'm not here? And for her, those big milestones were weighing on her, because she thought, if I'm not here, they won't have that piece of me. And so for her, writing out some cards, she went to the store, bought a bunch of birthday cards or a graduation card. She wrote out some sweet words to her kids and she tucked them away. And then she had those. She happened to be alive and well for several of those milestones, and she already had those cards written away. But that's something that you might choose to do, whether you have a diagnosis or not. If you're one of those type A, you like to be organized, you can plan for those situations. Some of these cards are really fun to do. A journal exchange. This was an idea that one of a Inheritance of Hope family members came up with and shared with me on a legacy retreat that I just love. She started a journal exchange with her children, one of her children particularly, and they would just put this little notebook under their pillow. So she would write a note to her child and put it under her pillow. And then sometime, it wasn't every day or even every week, the child would write back and put it under mom's pillow. And this was so sweet because those of us that are parents, sometimes the face-to-face conversations, there's topics that are hard to talk about. But when you write it down and you're not quite looking eye to eye, you tend to be a little more vulnerable. Maybe you're willing to share a little bit more. And you can use that journal as an opportunity to communicate. And that's really special. The other thing I love about this idea is that journal becomes a time capsule. That journal becomes a memory book that later you and your child, hopefully you're both around together, to look back and look at all those conversations that happened. Obviously time changes and it's going to be a unique perspective, but to have that journal is something that you can capture. So that's another really gift of the written word. Some people have a Bible that they use, or even another book that means something to them that they've read. And by writing some words in the margin or at the beginning or end, just your own thoughts, maybe some of the nuggets that you took away from a certain passage, or if you underline a certain section and you're able to write some of your thoughts, that is a gift as well. Someday someone else might be reading that book or reading that Bible and they can see an insight into your thoughts. And that's really special. I actually, interestingly, I got out my Christmas decorations this weekend, which maybe some of you are like, no. But when I pulled out my ornament box, something that I started 6 years ago in this gift of the written word, building my personal legacy, is I started to write a letter to my family when I put away the Christmas decorations each year. So I started back in 2016. I wrote a letter in January as I was packing away the ornaments. And some of the letter would say, oh man, I was just packing away the ornament from our trip to San Antonio, Texas. And that trip was so cool because of this. And then I tell my kids a little bit about something that they did that year. This year you accomplished something. And I write it specifically to my child. And those letters live in my ornament box, my Christmas ornament box. So this weekend, when I opened my ornament box, right there on the top is my 6 little letters from the last 6 years. They're paper clipped together. And if I'm not here for some reason next Christmas, they have that as a gift from me. But when I'm here this Christmas, I have it as a gift from me. I open those up and I read them, and it even just like blesses my heart to read my own words about my kids and about our family and about some of the memories that we had from 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Like I said before, it's like a time capsule, and those just live with my Christmas ornaments. And every year it's a reminder. So that's a gift of the written word. There are some amazing books out there. I just put a few of them here on this slide. Listography is one, A Question a Day, The Story of My Life. Those are 3 books that you can buy even at Target, but they have them on Amazon. These are books that have like prompts that ask you questions, allow you to write down your thoughts and capture those things for you and your loved ones. Storyworth is another level of that. It's actually an email-based software or program that you can purchase a subscription for yourself or for someone you love, perhaps even one of your parents or a grandparent. They get an email, and you can set it as far as the length of time in between emails. But let's say you send it for once a week. They get an email once a week with a prompt. It's a question that they then answer via the email. And at the end of the year, the Storyworth will print this book, a compilation of their responses. So it's something you can do for yourself as well. As we're approaching the holidays, it's a gift idea that is very meaningful. And you can select the questions if you want them to be randomly selected by Storyworth, or you want to have a little bit of a say in what those questions are. You have that authority to kind of personalize it. But Storyworth is another sweet way. It says written word. It would be typed word in that case, but you get it, same thing. And then write blessings for your children. On our annual legacy event last year, you can go back on YouTube for the Inheritance of Hope channel, and we have a whole channel of our annual legacy event recordings from last year. There was a session done by Megan Marshman, and the name of it is escaping me right now, but it is an amazing session all about speaking a blessing to your children and how to do that, which you may be like, what does that even mean? I agree with you. I didn't understand what that meant. Megan taught us how to speak a blessing to our children or to our loved ones, to anyone in our life that matters to us. And how powerful would it be to write that blessing down? I have a scripture that I've sort of adopted for each of my 4 kids that is kind of my prayer for them, and to write that down with their name so they know that their mom was praying that prayer, that scripture for them, is something really sweet. And Megan Marshman is actually sharing on Sunday at our closing celebration, and she is a very gifted speaker. So you don't want to miss that. Okay. The gifts of photos, videos, and audio. This might be my favorite. Actually, I'm going to probably say that about all of them. It's just the way I am, right? Enthusiastic. Photos, videos, and audio all are a way to capture the essence of you, who you are, your voice, your facial expressions, your mannerisms. These are things that are priceless. I have sat with, I would say, hundreds of families as they made a legacy video. And I can tell you that in all of those, they've been different. Some have been long, some have been short, some have been hysterically funny, and some have been so sad. And every single one of them has been a tremendous gift to the families that receive them. I've never heard anyone say, oh, I wish I hadn't have made that. In fact, every single feedback that we get from families, like the legacy video tends to be the most special gift that they've ever been given by a loved one. I will tell you, as someone who doesn't have a diagnosis right now, I have made several legacy videos. We have a whole session on Sunday with Spencer all about behind the scenes, it's called, with legacy videos. It's something that everyone can and should do, regardless of your diagnosis or non-diagnosis. It's a way to kind of capture it, just like a time capsule of sorts, of what's kind of going on in your head and heart at this point in time. We have legacy video coaches that are trained and equipped and ready to help you carry this out for your family. Jane happens to be one of them. Her name says Inheritance of Hope on here. She's one of the people that is trained to help you do this. It is just a beautiful gift to your family. When we talk about the gift of video, that's one of the things I want you to realize. It is a gift. And even if it might be a little hard, it is a beautiful gift of love. And we want everyone to be able to do that. And now, the way that Inheritance of Hope is set up, we're prepared to help you do that anytime, anywhere, through Zoom. So you don't just have to be on one of our events, but you can actually schedule that when it's convenient for you. Photo album ideas. So some of you may say, I have so many photos, I don't even know what to do. And I will say, I understand thousands of photos. That's the beauty of a phone, and also the curse, because we take them and then what do we do with them? I will say there's another breakout session from last year about how to organize your photos. But in the case of this, think about it as one project, just small. And that can be an ABC book where you pick something you want to say about each of your kids, maybe using the letters of the alphabet, and you just choose one photo for each letter. I think A, you're awesome. B, you're brave. C, you're courageous. And you can take a photo of your child and give that to them as a gift, just to encourage them and show them your love. You might choose to make a vacation book. Certainly that's a limited amount of photos from one trip. Some people choose to do one picture a year. So if you're one of those people that has a lot of photos and none of them are in any kind of book or any kind of memory organization, maybe you just look back and take one picture from each year and make that into a book. I'm excited to tell you about something called chat books. So for those of you who this is overwhelming, just tune me out on this part. But some of you are going to be excited about this. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you how to do this. Chat books is a very inexpensive service that will print books for you for a period of time through Instagram. So the way they do it is whatever is shared on Instagram and whatever is written in the post with that share is then printed in a book that comes. And you can set it to come once a month, or you can set it to come once you reach 30 photos. It's a beautiful thing because if you are someone who doesn't really like to put together photo books and you're not really that organized, you can create an Instagram account that is completely private. So this is something that you don't share with anybody. You have it, you've created it, and it's just for this chat book idea. So you have this very private Instagram account. You, whenever you feel like it, share a picture, and then you share in the comments exactly what you want it to say under the picture. So if it's a picture of the first snowstorm of the year, you put that picture in Instagram. Under the post, you put first snowstorm of the year, Melissa's having a blast, or the date, or whatever you want to do. And then when Chatbooks prints it, it's going to come to your house in your mailbox. You're going to even maybe forget that it's time, and it's going to be all of those pictures that you shared to that Instagram account with the post. You don't even have to think about it. Now, you do have to remember to put something in that Instagram account occasionally, but it is such an easy way to print and capture your photos in a way that's then tangible, and it can be shared and enjoyed by everyone. If you have more questions about chat books, definitely you can reach out to me. But that's something that's sort of an easy way to capture your photos and give as a gift for your legacy. This last bullet point is about the audio piece of this section of the gift, and it's the voice memo app, which if you have an iPhone, it's on there. Even if you don't know it, you pull down and search voice memo, and it is a voice recording app. It's a very high quality microphone. It picks up more than you might imagine, and it's something that allows you to record audio without taking up a huge amount of file space on your device. So I know recording videos tends to take up a huge portion of storage, but audio messages don't take up that much storage. And you might choose to record yourself reading a book to your child if you have young children. This is something then that recording can be used again and again. If you're not around someday, they can use that. But even if you are, how many times do you wish you didn't have to read the same book again? Let them listen to the recording, and it can be practical even now. But even for your grandkids and great grandkids, to have a recording of your voice reading a special book that means something to you. I would say even if your kids are teenagers or adults, why not record their favorite childhood book that you tucked away in the attic, that you haven't read to them since they were 5 and now they're 25, read the book, record yourself, and tuck it away for your grandkids or for them to listen to later when they have children of their own. I've known a few people who have recorded special birthday messages. This can be such an easy thing to do. And if you're not around someday, to be able to have that is such a cherished gift for your loved one. So even singing the happy birthday song with a short little I love you at the end can be so meaningful to your loved ones. And it is a very simple thing to do in the moment now. I sometimes turn my voice memo on at family dinner, just catching the banter of my kids now. And I think one day we're going to laugh about this. And I'm sure, I hope we will, but the natural banter between family members is such a sweet thing to capture. And I know that that's part of your legacy, right? That's part of what you're building as a family. And so you might choose to just turn it on during family dinner. I have deleted a few of those recordings, in case you're wondering. Some of them are not as good as others, but it's easy to capture, so no harm done. Okay, next gift is the gift of traditions. We posted on Instagram a few days ago the idea of a thankful jar. I don't know if anyone's done that before, but it's a really easy tradition that you can do as a family. You basically just put out a container with some pieces of paper. I put it out for the whole month of November, and my family members know it's there. If something comes up and they're thankful, they can write it on the piece of paper and put it in ours is a pumpkin, but it can be a jar or a container. And then at the end of Thanksgiving dinner, we'll take out the paper and we'll read what everyone has written that they're thankful for. I like to keep the paper in there for next year. So when I pull that pumpkin out again next November, we'll be able to read some of the things from last year, from this year that we were thankful for. And that's just a sweet reminder for us of some of the things that have happened in our lives. The thankful jar is a fun family tradition. And then your kids someday might start that with their kids based off of your influence, which is part of your legacy. First day of school pictures. I know all of us probably have done that with our kids. If you have young kids, an idea that I saw that was sweet is putting your kids in the same shirt every year on the first day of school. And it starts out really, really big when they're a kindergartner. And then as they grow into the shirt. And maybe when they graduate, the shirt actually fits them. So that's a cute idea that I saw someone do. That's a sweet tradition. Parent dates. Do any of you go on dates with your kids where it's like an intentional mom and daughter time, or mom and son time, or dad and daughter? This is something that can become a tradition that everyone expects it. And maybe in the beginning it's a fight, like, especially if you have teenagers, I'm not really interested, mom. But it becomes something that they just are used to, and maybe they start doing it with their kids someday as well, just based on your influence. So you might consider parent dates. Some people do like an ornament each year. So you can get a Christmas ornament or something that kind of captures your family's memory of that year, and you have it for your tree. That is something sweet then every year when you pull those out to decorate. It's a reminder of something special. It's a fun tradition. Our family reenacts the Christmas story with the nativity set. And now my kids are 20, 19, 18, and 13, and we still do it. It's a family tradition. You can't get out of that. And it's something that my husband did with his family when they were little. And it's something we all look forward to, even if they think that they're too big for it. They like it. And it is sweet to remember for us, the Christmas story, it's important for us. So that's a family tradition. Some people do family prayers, maybe before dinner, before school. I don't know why it says before dinner twice, but you get me there. So that's something that might be a tradition for your family. And then special celebrations. I mean, I'd love to hear at the end of this presentation any other family traditions, because I love learning from you guys. It'll probably end up in the PowerPoint next year when you have these good ideas, because many of these ideas came from people like you. So what family traditions have you started that will hopefully continue on through your family, and it will be part of your legacy? So we'll keep a note of those if you have some to share. Finally, the gift of mementos. I talked about how Kristen wrote letters and cards for her kids. Those are great. And she also did the same sort of thing with gifts. So you might choose to select a few special birthdays that you want to buy gifts for, especially if you have a diagnosis and the doctors have given you some sort of prognosis. I will never stop saying to families that are facing a terminal illness that we know that miracles happen, and we know that doctors are wrong sometimes, and we know that God can heal. And so all of that is still true. And I personally pray often for that, for long life, long health, healing, and terminal illness to be wiped aside and doctors to be blown away. And I've seen it happen, guys. So hang on to that part of the hope. I also know that none of us is guaranteed tomorrow, myself included. I do not have a terminal diagnosis, but I don't know what tomorrow brings. And so some of this planning, especially if you have this prognosis, can be empowering. It can be peace-giving. It can be life-giving. For Kristen, it was her living these events before they happened. So when she told me what she bought her daughters for their wedding day, we were like two best friends living those events before they happened. And certainly I wish she was going to be here for those big events, but I know her daughters are going to be so blessed when they see the love that their mom had for them in these gifts that she selected for them. So milestone gifts, that's something you might choose to do as a gift in your legacy building. We talked about the special book or Bible that you might write your notes in. That is also something that you might tuck away. Kristen chose to get like a hope chest, like a cedar hope chest for each of her kids, and she could just tuck these things in there as she grew them. You might choose a handheld token. I know some of you have been on a legacy retreat with us, and we pass out these handheld kind of cross that fit in your knuckle in the palm of your hand. Kristen had a rock with each of her kids' names inscribed on the rock, and she just held the rock and prayed for them each night before she went to bed. They lived in the bedside table beside her bed, and there was nothing magical about the rock. It was just, a rock. But when she passed away and Derek gave the rock to the kids and they saw their name and they had already seen their mom hold these and pray for them each night, it was just that visible reminder that their mom loved them, that she had prayed for them faithfully, and they could have that now in their bedside table. It's just that reminder of that token of her love. So you might choose to have something like that, even like a piece of jewelry. So maybe it's a piece of jewelry that you currently own that you want your child to have, or maybe you purchase something specific like a locket or a cross, or maybe for some of the men, a watch or a compass with some sort of engraving. This can be something that is a meaningful kind of part of your legacy that passes on through the generations from yourself to your children and their children. I also love the idea of utilizing like clothing that people identify with you in like a pillowcase or a blanket. So if dad or mom has a t-shirt that they wear a lot, and you can make that into even a teddy bear, some people have done, that can be like a memento, a reminder of love, and that can be a sweet gift as well. On the last legacy retreat we did, or Hope at Home weekend, someone had this really great idea that I had never heard before called sound wave art. I don't know if any of you have heard that, but if you Google sound wave art, it's a company. They actually have a few different companies, like Etsy has some people, and you can send them a recording of something, your voice, maybe you're saying, I love you, or you're singing, or it's the heartbeat of a new baby that's coming. They can turn it into this piece of art based on the sound wave. And that's just a really cool, meaningful way to capture really the audio with the gift of memento together into something that you can display even on the wall, and it looks beautiful and it has this extra meaning. So that's kind of cool as well. I have done so much talking, but I just have one more slide here, and then I hope to open it up to anything you guys want to share. But a topic that a lot of people wrestle with when it comes to capturing all of this legacy stuff and keeping it organized and stored and accessible. I've put a few suggestions that I've used myself and also learned from you guys. Some people create a private Facebook page. So I already talked about a private Instagram page. That's certainly an option, but Facebook allows you to put videos and pictures and words. And if this is an account that maybe you're choosing to use as a storage spot, it's not necessarily something you're using to share your life with the world, you can make it completely private. Maybe you share the password with a special friend or a spouse or a sister, brother. This is somewhere where you can store audio clips, video clips, pictures, and then someone knows it's there and it's easy to access, and it's capturing some of those things for you and organizing them for you. Same with a secret email account. I know my friend that has ALS, she has an email account for her young daughter who's 4, and she can no longer type with her hands, but she can use her eye gaze on her computer to type messages. So she can no longer speak in a way that's clear, but she can type these emails to her daughter and then email them basically to herself right now, because her daughter's only 4. And she can say the things in her heart that she wants her daughter to know someday. And so that email account is priceless, because someday those can be shared in the right time with her daughter directly from her mom, which is just priceless. The secret Instagram account is what I was sharing about with Chatbook. So I just mentioned that there. There are a lot of different ways you can store items. If this is overwhelming to you, please don't hesitate to reach out, because it's becoming more and more simplified. So maybe if it was overwhelming in the past, there are some tips and tricks, but I've listed a few of my favorite ones there. I have more actually since I made this slide, but certainly you should save your items. Photos and videos are priceless, and there's ways to save them in a safe way. The Hope Chest is also a very practical way to put things in one place. It seems like common sense, but it really, I know in my house, things are scattered everywhere. And if my husband were to have to find things, he probably wouldn't. So having them in one spot is a good thing. Wrapping some of those gifts might be meaningful to you. And then you might have a special accomplice, I will say, someone who you trust, who knows you well, that kind of stores some special things so that they can bring them out at just the right time for your loved ones, if that's the kind of situation that you're in. You know, it's crazy to me, when Kristen passed away in October of 2012, that December of 2012, her husband came to my house with a wrapped package, and it was a Christmas gift from Kristen to me. And I'm not her child or her spouse. I was her friend, and that's great. But she had wrapped this up for me in 2009. The card was written in 2009. This was 2012, but that was when she was like preparing. It happened to be this picture of us with a little saying about being a true friend. And I keep it here because I love her and it means something to me. But how cool is that? I want to be like that. But there's so many ways that I hope that it has inspired you to kind of think outside the box, maybe inspire you to try one thing, maybe not all of the things. And that's kind of the goal of today. So I would love, I'm going to stop sharing this. I would love to hear from you guys, first of all, of any questions. And then if there's things that you've tried or that you feel inspired to try now from this talk. So feel free to unmute yourself.
I have a quick question on what you do with like your secret accomplice or that sort of thing. Excuse me. Do you also keep like a list of login information for where everything is stored, like digital stuff? Because I think number one, it's making sure your accomplice is, you know, right there, but something easy if you've got email accounts or private Facebook or Instagram, just kind of keeping that as this is the important documents folder, and then your family can kind of discover or know what you have stored and saved for them too? Do you kind of record it that way as well as kind of cueing somebody else in?
Yes, that's a very good question. For sure, cueing someone else in. And then I have it all written in my bedside table in a little journal. And that's just my journal of like private thoughts, but it's in the very front. Like, this is where you'll find my legacy videos. This is where you'll find, but then some of the stuff like those Christmas letters, you guys, I'm the only one that decorates every year. No one even knows. My family doesn't know that we have them. They're sitting on top of our Christmas ornaments every year, paper clipped. And if I wasn't around next Christmas, they'd be like, wow, what's this? This is cool. Bonus.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of it can be a secret, I think, right? But yeah, the passwords and for sure, like email accounts and that sort of thing, especially if you're being intentional about capturing these things, you want to record it in at least 2 places. A special friend, somewhere else, someone will look.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'll tag in really quick on your Christmas card or your letter each Christmas idea. I saw your video when you shared that a couple years ago, maybe. And so I put a binder together that had like our picture Christmas card every year, because it started when John and I got married and then kids came along, and sometimes we had a newsletter or we did a holiday party, and I just stick everything in a page protector. And the kids kind of don't know that I do that, or they see the cards and they kind of float around or whatever. But then I started writing a letter a few years ago. And then on New Year's Eve, after John passed away, the kids and I started a new tradition of looking back what we're thankful for and looking ahead what we're hopeful for. And so then we kind of have this little 2-page spread each year that we look back and we're thankful that somebody started swimming lessons, or that we got to go camping at our favorite spot a few times, and we had some of those memories kind of away. And I kind of geared it to record some of our memories of the year, and then what we're looking forward to, maybe something in a new grade or a new activity that we're hoping to do as a family or something like that. And then we can kind of see the connection flow year to year. But I've kept it all in a binder just because then it's in one spot. But everything kind of through that holiday season, it's been kind of fun. And then it's like the 3rd of January, I'm like, oh yeah, we got to do this. But usually it's been Christmas or New Year's Eve that we try to do that. But just a way to kind of even document the year when there's like 365 days of activity in your life. What were some of those highlights that you were thankful for, and that sort of thing? So
yeah, that is so good, Tessa. I appreciate you sharing that. And something that stood out that you just shared that I hope everyone took away is to extend grace to yourself. So what if the tradition was supposed to be Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve and it ends up being January 3rd or January 19th or February 3rd? Like, it's okay. Don't give up on something that means something to you just because it changed a little bit. Extend grace to yourself and don't give up, like persevere, especially if it means, something to you. So I love that, Tessa. You're organized in your binder and you are giving yourself grace. What else?
So Jill, I just did a writing class with the writer in residence at our hospital. And one of the things that she suggested was doing an ethical will, which sounds a little, it's a will, but anyway, there's a lot of information online about ethical wills. It's basically your values and beliefs to your kids. And there's a lot of websites out there. But Andrew Weil, if you know him, he's a doctor who's very well known for other things, but he's got a huge section on his website about ethical wills. So anyway, I just learned about that, and it's something I'm gonna look into and work on.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that, Kim. Thanks for sharing. So good. That's sort of how Inheritance of Hope started, you guys. I know some of you might not even know this, but when Kristen was getting treatment at Sloan Kettering Hospital in New York City, there was a psychology, student of psychology getting their doctorate. They were doing their thesis on legacy, and they were interviewing patients that were getting treatment for terminal illnesses. And they were asking them questions about death and dying and their perspective and what was important to them to leave behind. And they asked gobs of questions. And this doctorate student printed it out into like a manuscript of sorts and categorized all these patients that she had interviewed into like 3 different categories of legacy. And one was like material legacy. So leaving your children with like property and finance and money, you know, like the idea of inheritance that the world thinks of like kind of what's tucked away in the nest egg of fortune. And then there was this other legacy of like emotional legacy. So the ways that they pour into their family through some of these things, tradition and your culture and things like that. And then there was spiritual legacy, which is about your faith and the things that matter to your soul and eternity. And as the lady was interviewing all these people, Kristen fell into the category strongly of spiritual legacy. That was the most important thing to her. So to her, it didn't matter as much if she didn't leave her kids, the other 2, as much as the spiritual component. So when it was written up, I actually have the manuscript upstairs, but it's so powerful. It's kind of like what you were sharing, Kim, about how did you word it, ethical will. It was Kristen's desire that she would impart this spiritual foundation to her kids, that would be their faith-filled foundation, that even if she was no longer with them, they would always have it. That was the most important thing to her. And so what you just described, Kim, I think is kind of what Kristen did through this like interview with this student. And out of that birthed Inheritance of Hope, because Kristen wrote a book for her kids to explain death and dying from a Christian perspective. That's the Train's Rest book that some of you have read. And then from that, it spurred her to think there's other families like mine. And oh, maybe we should. So that's just a tidbit. The legacy continues.
Right.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Well, I
We've
think
done, oh, go ahead.
no, I don't know who's talking. I think I shared last year too, but I have like certain cookbooks with certain recipes for the holidays that my kids, that are special to them. And in particular, there was one book in particular that has a lot of tradition. So I bought an extra one, even though it was out of print. I found one and I wrote in the forward of both of them a note to both my kids so that they have some of these recipes. And then I have another place where I keep other recipes just so they have those that they can share with their kids one day, I hope. And the other thing is like, we have a lot of artwork in the house, and behind the artwork, I have the stories of how we got them or why I purchased that or where I was when I saw it or why I fell in love with it. And it's just little notes behind it. So one day if they inherit those things, they know the story behind it, and it might make it that much more special to them that they can hang it in their homes. So those are some other ways that I've tried to, keep certain things moving forward.
I love that. You see, I just wrote both of those down because those are going to make the list. Those are such great ideas, Andrea. And I guess now just praying those boys find a woman that knows how to cook like their mama, because if they inherit the recipe
Well,
book.
Liam is a really good cook. Ross can't boil water, but Liam is a good cook. So yeah, I have 1 and 1. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So good. All right, Kurt, were you going to share something?
Yeah, we've done, it's similar to the first day of school with the big shirt and down, but ours is Christmas. So we do their first Christmas outfit. So we have it in our Christmas stuff and we bring it out every year. And so they got to hold it in front of them. So we've had to do Shaylin now the past couple of years, he's on the East Coast now. So we FaceTime him and have it and then put the outfit underneath his head. It's pretty funny to look at, but yeah.
That's a cute idea. I love that. Yeah, just so you guys know, Kurt and I were on a call earlier, and he also has his tree up. So the two of us are the two that are, on our way.
Yeah.
What else?
I've loved all these ideas. I love getting ideas, so this has been great. But I just wanted to expand a little bit on the journaling thing, because I think when you were describing it, you took the vantage point from like writing our children. And I started a journal with my husband a couple of months ago, and we just exchange it. Like we put it underneath our pillows, and there's no timeline or anything. We write jokes in there. Sometimes we write prayers. Sometimes we write, an affirmation or whatever. And it's just been really neat for in this season to have something that I know he'll have later, but it just gives me a chance to acknowledge just how much he does and for us to kind of have that connection. So I feel like I kind of acknowledge him first before I kind of start the stuff with my children. And, it just feels good to have that going right now. It's hitting a lot of notes, I guess.
Yeah, that's good, Jen. Thanks for sharing that.
You just
Yeah,
can't forget our spouses.
Yeah, and even like a private journal, like I did kind of go right into the journal exchange piece, but certainly if you've never tried to journal just your thoughts and your the meditations of your heart and things that you're reading that mean something to you, that can be a powerful thing. Not even exchanging it with anyone. I know there's lots of different situations on this call, and some of you are like, well, but your thoughts and dreams and ideas mean something to someone, I promise. And capturing those is powerful, even for your own self later. Anything else?
I was poking around on the IOH resources. I think it was in the resources library. And there was a really nice, just like legacy book template. I'm not getting the names right, but I thought that was a really great way to kind of springboard into what you might do in journaling or writing. But it had places to like write your hopes and dreams for your children, to describe part of your history. And I printed 2 copies. They're still printed and ready, but I think there'd be great ways to start messages for your kids and kind of that history piece too. But that way I just found that I kind of stumbled across it in the IOH resources in one of the different links there that they had. So I jotted that down. And one of the things that my kids and I have done just after John passed away, we really had to work together, that there were lots of things that needed to get done. And so we had to become like Team Martinson, and we have our own secret handshake, or not secret, because we like perform it in front of like Gentry and I have a handshake and AJ and I have a handshake, and let's do it again. Oh, and now let's do it again. And we kind of do it. And then it's like clean house or whatever we have to do, but we kind of like gear up, but it's different. And Gentry doesn't want me to do it with AJ, and AJ doesn't want me to do it with Gentry, but something that they've even made their own little one up that changes every few weeks, but just something that was ours, kind of not an inside joke, but just our handshake. We were Team Martinson, but we had a handshake. And so that was just kind of a thing that any family member could do along the way to kind of, we belong together, we work together, and we even have our own little handshake.
I love that. And that really is something that honestly, like you can pass down, because they'll do that with their kids, and it's like a fun memory. I love that.
Yeah.
I was just looking in the chat. I hadn't opened the chat yet, but I want to make sure everyone recognizes that there are some things over there that might help you. Melissa shared about listography, which she's been doing, and I love that, and the story worth idea. Stephen posted the link to Megan's video that I mentioned, where I talked about how you bless those you love, a practical way to leave a blessing. So you can find that link. Make sure you kind of copy and paste it before this call ends so you don't lose that. I love that Kim shared about Apple Photos as well as Shutterfly. Those are both options for storing your photos. And I will tell you, if you have an Amazon Prime account, which I'm sure probably most of us do, you are already paying for and have access to the use of Apple Photos, which is a free unlimited photo storage. And if you take the Apple Photos app on your phone, you can actually set it to automatically sync all of your photos from your phone to Apple Photos. And the word I used there was sync, but I really should have used the word backup, because if you use iCloud, I'm giving you this is an extra lesson because we have time. iCloud is a syncing system. So if you deleted the photos from your iPad or your iPhone or your computer, it would go away from the cloud. It would be gone forever on all your devices. If you don't know that already, please heed my warning. iCloud is a syncing system. If you delete it from any of your devices, it will delete forever. Apple Photos is a backup. So if you turn that feature on and you allow it to automatically back up, it will back up all your photos. And then if you delete them from your device, they are still in Apple Photos. And it is kind of annoying if you don't want Apple Photos to have every single screenshot, or the picture of your breakfast that you took, or the picture of your stub toe that you sent to your best friend. It's going to take all of those because you set it to automatically back up all your photos from your device. But it also will keep them all in a way that's safe, so that if anything happened, your kid accidentally deleted all your photos, or your phone fell in the river, it would all be on Amazon Photos. I don't know if I said Apple Photos by accident. I meant Amazon Photos forever. And you're already paying for it if you have an Amazon Prime account. So that is a hot tip. Does anybody have a question? Because I see people leaning in. It's powerful, I know. I'm blowing your mind. Oh, sorry. My dog's excited too about Amazon Photos. If you have 30,000 photos on your phone, you think that's crazy, but some people do. It will take all 30,000. It'll take about a week, but it'll happen. Amazon Photos. Yeah, Kim Ulmer's telling you there's a phone app. That's the one I'm recommending, because then it'll take all those pictures from your phone and it will back them up forever. If you have questions, Jill@inheritanceofhope.org. I'm always happy to help you when it comes to photos and videos and legacy building. Hopefully my enthusiasm is contagious. Some of you look more enthusiastic than others, but I'm going to trust the fact that you joined this call means there is a level of enthusiasm.
Yay!
Whether I see it or not. Yeah. So I am so excited. I will give you one last chance if there's anything you would like to add before we close off.
Nope.
I have found this book. I really like. There's letters to my son, but they have letters to my daughter. I think there's several different ones, but they're like little prompts for writing, like I love that our family, and then it gives you like this little thing that's in here, and then there's stickers to like seal it. Like when you were younger, I'm proud of you, because it's just been a nice little cute thing that's together to do. Like when I think about writing cards, like for birthdays, I feel overwhelmed, but I did that. And then I also did, so I created a Google Drive. So if you have an email, you have a Google Drive, right? So I organized it like folders, like written documents, pictures, and then pictures uploaded by year. And I did this a lot because of Jill. I attended your workshops like a little over a year, maybe it was a year ago, probably a year ago. So I feel fortunate to have done that, but there's something I was going to share with that. Oh, so online there's this Cards for Brianna written by a mom who had a young daughter, and she was terminally ill. She passed away. in a short period of time, she was an atheist. But I really liked how she did like these little summaries, and it's like for when you feel anxious, when you're happy, for when you fall in love. And there's a few sentence summary, and then there was like a chapter on it. So I have been creating a Google document that's kind of like that, like when you feel overwhelmed, for when you feel sad, when you're happy, when good things happen, when bad things happen. I even ended up when someone you love passes away, right? Because we want them to be joyful and know that we're not in pain anymore and that we love them. So anyway, that was just really something that that over time, I mean, because I just couldn't think about what to write for each birthday. I don't really know what to write to him when he's 12 or when he's 15, or, you know, like I can't think of that. But thinking about like the advice that I share with him when he's going through certain issues that I would be there for, or that I want to be there for, that he can read about it.
I love that. Oh man, if I taught you anything a year ago, now fast forward a year, you're teaching me. So good. Oh, I love it. Thank you, Melissa, for sharing that. It's so good. I love the way you also organized your things in the Google Drive. That was very smart. It's really good.
Yeah.
So good.
Extra storage. So then thinking through like how that's going to work out. It's like $24 for a year to have the extra storage, but someone has to pay each year $24.
Yeah. Yeah, planning that is something to think about at least. Very good. Well, in the course of this call, it has gotten pitch dark in Andrea's world of New York and bright sunshine because Melissa lives in Hawaii. So we have like time zones of everything in between, right?
We had a tornado in between. I had to get off the journaling class because a tornado ripped through Long Island, but we're here. That's why I had to change my shirt. I ran outside to take down the umbrella and stack up the chairs, and my Vision shirt got wet, so it's in the laundry. But
well, I'm glad your house didn't blow.
I came back. I made it back for you, Jill. I love you so much.
I love you so much too. Thank you guys for joining this session. I hope that you were inspired, and you can guarantee that I will be cheering you on. I would love to hear from you anytime. So go build your legacies and enjoy your day. Be intentional with this day and tomorrow too. And however many we're blessed with, just use them, be intentional with them. And thank you for taking the time to join us this time. You guys, next, there's more sessions, but the family game night is tonight. So hopefully you're all planning to join. Stephen is our host, and we're like so fortunate to have him on this call with us. It's going to be a great night. I will also say, if you have not downloaded the Hope at Home app, please do that like right now. Look, we ended our call early just to give you the opportunity to go to the app store, type in Hope at Home. It's navy blue. It's free. And when Tessa was talking about the legacy workbook, yep, the legacy journal, I think it's called, I don't even know. You're right. I don't know the name either. It is in there and you can print it off. There's lots of resources on the Hope at Home app. So, oh, Bernadette Gersh is joining our call now. That's interesting. So feel free to download the app and see you at family game night in just a little bit. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.